We're back.
What's up, everybody? We're back. We're going to kick off this segment doing our NBA awards, our All-NBA team, and then our All-Rookie team, all that good stuff.
Right.
So, we're going to start it out with the Most Improved Player award, which I think it's pretty obvious. It's got to be Victor Oladipo, right?
Yeah, like, no question. Like,
I mean,
it's hard to say otherwise. Because, I mean, look at what he's done for Indiana this year.
That's why I put this one first, because, I mean, I don't think there's really a debate for it, honestly. I think he's going to run away with this award.
I mean, look at it. I mean, he averaged 23 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. You know, first year being the man for his own team in Indiana.
Led Indiana to the 5 seed in the East,
crazy.
Which is not in the, everybody talks about how weak the East is, but I mean, Indiana wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs this year, and they're the 5 seed.
Yeah,
So,
they far exceeded expectations.
that one's pretty easy for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's really like the least debatable topic we won't have on this show probably ever.
Probably, yeah. So, sixth man of the year, I think it's got to be Lou Williams. I think it's another pretty
consensus.
I mean, you could go with quite a few different players, but I mean, Lou Williams, sweet Lou, you know, he dropped 50 points earlier in the year.
I mean, he almost became an all-star just coming off the bench for the Clippers.
He's averaging what, 23 or something off the bench?
Yeah, like over 20 points and 5 assists. And the crazy thing is, this is like the most points that a sixth man has scored since Ricky Pierce in 1990. So it's been almost like 30 years since anybody off the bench have been this dominant of a scorer.
I mean, he's the best player on the Clippers.
I mean, yeah, and he's a bench player.
Straight up, he comes off the bench and he's their best player.
He's like an upgraded version of Manu Ginobili. Not taking away from Ginobili and his legacy in San Antonio.
Best sixth man of all time.
Don't take it personal. But as in, like, the ability to score at will, like, and necessary for the team, for the Clippers, I mean, he has done a wonderful job this year.
So here we go. I feel like this one's going to be a little more debatable. Coach of the year. I'll let you start.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Like, there's so many good coaches. Like, there really are. Greg Popovich with the Spurs.
Greg Popovich is the best coach in the NBA, period.
Yeah. Possibly
maybe
of all
ever.
time. Possibly all time.
But that's not how the award works, or LeBron James would have 15 MVP awards.
Like, I mean, I believe, like, the top 3 candidates for not rookie of the year, but coach of the year
in a minute
is going to be Brett Brown for the 76ers.
Definitely. Like, nobody's talking about him in the national media for coach of the year, and they really should. 3rd seed in the East.
I mean, and 2 years removed from having a 10-win season.
How long's it been since they made the playoffs?
I mean,
how old am I? Have I seen them make the playoffs?
5-6 years, probably when you was in high school.
Exactly. Yeah, look at this. I have no idea.
A lot has happened in a few years.
I had hair last time Philadelphia.
Things happen, y'all.
I was probably like 140 pounds back then. Do I look 140 pounds?
And I was probably like,
Don't answer that.
And I was like 160. Of course, I'm not gonna mention how much I weigh now.
No, we don't have to talk about that.
Near that, I'll say that for sure. But I would say Brett Brown, definitely in my mind, would be coach of the year because I mean, look at the young talent that he has. And able to, to keep them afloat and for them to win 16 games in a row to end the season, like at the end of the year.
Without their best player right now.
I mean, I believe that just kind of put him over the top. But also, I'll say Dwayne Casey for the Raptors.
Of course.
He deserves a lot of credit. Like, for him to reinvent himself and that team and how they play ball.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, from going from an ISO ball type team and DeRozan and Lowry to now passing the ball similar to like what Golden State and San Antonio do.
Oh,
I mean,
keeping up
that
with
team
times.
has completely turned a new leaf and they look more powerful than ever and really are a relevant contender in the East.
I believe so. So,
and then my last person, Brad Stevens. Hey, Brad Stevens is a bad man. Like, look at it. He took a mid-major school in Butler, mind you, to the national championship game in back-to-back years.
Half-court buzzer beater.
Almost beat
Duke. If it goes in, they win the national championship. I mean, it bounced off the rim.
Mid-major, winning the national title. Who would have thought that? Like, I mean, the closest thing to it since then has been like Loyola Chicago this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, they didn't get to the national championship game like Butler did.
Butler made it twice. Came up short twice, but made it twice.
And then for him to, propel himself from what he did at Butler to the Celtics and to be able to reinvent the team after KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Rondo all left. And now look at them with all the talent they have with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And look, they don't even have their best 2 players on the team right now in Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward.
4th best record in the NBA.
Second seed in the East.
Second seed in the East without our possibly best player on the record. Gordon Hayward, people said that Kyrie was
broken ankle. 5 minutes into the season.
People who think that Gordon Hayward wasn't that great didn't watch Utah last year.
Or any other year
because Utah is boring and whatever.
And it's Utah.
Gordon Hayward, potentially in this offense, could have been the best player on the Celtics above Kyrie Irving because Kyrie's the facilitator. Gordon would have been the main scoring threat.
Even though Kyrie can hold his own, we're not saying that he can't score. I mean, look what he did with LeBron in Cleveland.
Just in general, Gordon Hayward can ball.
He can play.
Broke his ankle 2 minutes into the season. I said, that's it. We would have won the championship, but it's okay. We'll win it next year. It's not a big deal.
Hey, Boston will be there for sure. Like for years to come.
Definitely.
As long as his team stay healthy. If Kyrie can recover from his knee, which it should be with them screws coming out. And then Hayward, he looked like, with all the rehab videos we've seen online.
Hayward should definitely be fine.
He looked like he's getting back into form.
It's a bone and not a ligament or, it's not a tear, it's a break.
Look at what Paul George did. I mean, Paul George was like in half
with
his
leg
injury.
He's better now than he was then. Mm-hmm. So, who wins it?
I say Brett Brown. I
can respect
it's going to be a close vote, but Brett Brown deserves credit for Coach of the Year.
Is there any doubt in your mind who I'm picking?
Of course, you're going to be representing Brad Stevens and the Celtics. I mean, come on now. I mean, that's easy.
That's what it's all about, baby.
The Celtic green.
Oh, yeah. Had a better record without Kyrie than with Kyrie, for the record. Had a stretch.
Small sample size, just saying.
Very small sample size, but we had a stretch where we were missing, let me see. We're missing Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, of course. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown. I know I'm forgetting somebody else.
Probably one of the Morris twins.
No, Morris, he was playing, but basically our team was Jason Tatum, Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier.
Nothing but young guys.
We lost in double overtime to the Wizards, and then turned around, and I forgot who we beat the next night. It was a contender in the East.
Cleveland?
It might have been Philadelphia. Maybe Cleveland. I don't think it was Cleveland, but either way, Brad Stevens has been able to take anybody. He can take somebody out of the stands for Boston, put them on the floor,
and make them into a relevant
and we would have a very legitimate chance to win the game.
It's very Popovich-ish.
Exactly. I think that when Brad Stevens, very soon, he's already a top 5 coach in the league without even really doing anything yet. Mm-hmm. But he's going to go down potentially as an all-time great. He has the potential. Potential is a dangerous word. That's what Coach Mills used to tell us. Potential is a shout out Coach Mills if you're watching.
Hey,
potential. Rivercrest all day, baby. Brooklyn Bearcats.
Anyway.
Brad Stevens, he has the potential to go down with Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich. I mean, he's that great.
Strategic-wise, he is one of a kind.
He's still very young.
Plays is insane.
He's still very, very young in terms of being
his play calling is ingenious. I would say the only person that could possibly outsmart him, and I would say barely, is Popovich. As in be able to overcome, whatever plays or whatever role that you put your players in.
I definitely give Popovich.
Stevens is amazing.
But that's the thing. Brad Stevens in Boston reminds me a lot of Greg Popovich in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. He's going to make something that's going to last. Pop won 5 rings, went 5-1 in the finals. Is Brad Stevens going to do that? Maybe not.
To Miami. I blame you, Ray Allen. I blame you.
Hey, Tim Duncan missing the little baby hook.
No.
Tony Parker missed that shit. Greatest shot of all time, NBA Finals, easily. Oh, by the way, Celtics fans that are mad at Ray Allen, don't quit, because when I loved him at Boston. I was mad when he went to Miami, but he got that hardware. hit the biggest shot.
Before he left to go
I still love Ray Allen. Right? I forgive him.
He did his job. It wasn't like he didn't do his job. Boston exceeded what he did in Boston in Miami.
Boston tried to kick him out, man.
He was better in Boston than he was in Miami.
Oh, definitely. He was a barely even a role player in Miami. He was catch it in the corner and shoot.
Even though he hit like the biggest shot that saved LeBron's career.
Yeah.
Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it.
Moving on. Brad Stevens is my coach of the year. He has been all year. I mean, Dwayne Casey, great case.
Nearly winning.
I'm drawing a blank on the Sixers coaches. Brett Brown.
Brett Brown.
He's got a great case. Utah's coach. We're not very good at this, are we?
No, Quinn Snyder.
I knew it was Quinn.
Snyder.
Quinn.
He has done a job.
He's done a great job. D'Antoni, of course, Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich.
We acknowledge D'Antoni has done a wonderful job in Houston and getting them to win 65 games. That is an accomplishment in its own right, like for what they have done. Like with the chemistry that Chris Paul and James Harden have had. Before the season, having 2 point guards on your team, it was hard to see them actually being able to coexist with one another.
And they did it.
But they have
flawlessly
exceeded what
they have.
Anybody could have perceived they did.
4 losses with their big three.
Right. And the big three is including Clint Capella. Yes, we are including him in there. He has been that important for the Rockets.
Oh, for sure. So, anyway, let's just move on to Defensive Player of the Year. This could be a tough one. All right. To me, and I know there are a lot of candidates for this award, honestly.
Several.
It's probably the most wide open.
About how you look at it.
And a lot of people are leaning Rudy Gobert, and I can understand that. You got Rudy Gobert as your defensive player of the year?
I'm saying that loud and clear.
There we go. I love Rudy Gobert as the defensive player of the year. However, my gut feeling, this might be an out there pick, but the guy that I've been watching all year that going, man, he should be the defensive player of the year. I've been leaning toward Anthony Davis.
Hey, and I can't be mad at you for that. Everybody knows Anthony Davis, year in and year out, has been one of the best defensive players in the league. That's without even looking at the numbers. You could just see what he does on the court, and the impact that he has been big. Whenever you get into the paint, with his long wingspan and the ability to move like he has, it's hard to get by him and score.
Oh, that was. But yeah, I don't know. I actually didn't look up a lot of stats for this because I'm a stats guy. I'm not one of those advanced stat blog boys or whatever that Kevin Durant talks about. I actually know what I'm talking about. I watch the games. I usually go based off eye test, gut feeling with stats to back it up.
Right.
And my eye test gut feeling has been Anthony Davis. I don't know who's leading the league in blocks, but he's got to be damn close to leading. He's got to be up there. He's averaging over 2 blocks a game. And he's the do everything defender.
Right.
If you're a 3 through 5 coming in the paint, you got to deal with this big monster.
Even I'll say as far as 2 through 5, because it's not like Anthony Davis can't guards either.
Oh no, he can.
He can when necessary.
And Gobert, the biggest knock I had against him, which is probably going to come up in our All NBA and such, is he only played 54 games, which with Defensive Player of the Year, it's not as big of a knock, I guess, as for the other awards. But to me, it was man, it's just Anthony Davis did it all season, consistently great. And Gobert was, I don't want to take anything away from him because he's phenomenal. He's a very underrated center, And I think he will win Defensive Player of the Year. I do think that he will win it. But my vote, just me personally, from watching, just being terrified of a defender, would be Anthony Davis. So that's my pick.
And for me, I actually did look at the numbers up. And I'm not necessarily big on numbers. I'm also into the eye test. But in this case, I want to be able to go about why Rudy Gobert should be.
If we're being honest, I looked up every other award except for Defensive Player. I don't know why.
He messed up on this. That's why I'm winging it.
So I'm winging it. But I'm just winging this one.
Rudy Gobert is leading the Utah team that no one expected them to even be
No, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs. They lost Gordon Hayward. He was their everything, right. And they had no chance to make the playoffs. But then they got the Rookie of the Year.
Donovan Mitchell.
More on that in a minute.
We'll say that later. But
coming up
the go on Gobert. Gobert is 4th in the league in blocks. So he's already, making noise.
Oh yeah.
When he's on the court, Utah actually has the best defense in the league.
I have heard that. I haven't looked up for myself.
His impact has been huge. Like, on the court, the teams only score like 97 points a game. While off the court, on average for 48 minutes, they score like 105. So that's like an 8-point swing. I mean, that is a big, big difference in what happens with him being on the court compared to him being off the court. So, I mean, yeah, of course, we got a little bug issue happening, but it don't matter. We're going to talk this thing through. So, at the end of the day, I believe that with Gobert, the impact he has on the court, even for only 54 games, I think is still big enough impact that, I believe that he deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year. And
I can 100% get behind.
And of course, one other person, just throwing it out there, that should be considered, but I don't think he'll be worthy of it, will be Joel Embiid.
Definitely.
Because Embiid definitely is, worthy for what he does as a paint protector at the rim.
There's a lot of people you can put in the conversation. That's just my pick. Faison's probably right. It's most likely going to be Rudy Gobert. So let's get on to. It's kind of heated in the media. It's not like Rookie of the Year, but MVP.
Yeah.
MVP. There's a lot of ways that you can take it.
Depends on how you look at it.
MVP stands for Most Valuable Player.
Most Valuable Player. For that particular season, mind you.
Exactly.
Not for career, not for, accomplishments, or accolades that you get. It's all about, what you have done for that team, for that particular season, and, like, the storyline. Like, let's not deny the fact that storylines do play in MVP discussions. Like, look at Westbrook last year.
They have to. The storyline.
Triple-double. First time in, like, 50-plus years.
Exactly. The MVP award, you kind of have to put the whole season in a vacuum. Take everything else out and look at this year. Look at the expectations, the predictions, everything at the beginning of the year. Look at the whole season and look at how it ended up. And you have to base it strictly on that. Because if it went to the best player, LeBron James would have at least 12 MVPs. I mean, Steph would still win that MVP in 2016 because
that's considered one of the greatest years of all time.
I believe, as long as I've been watching the NBA, that's the single greatest season I've ever seen. It was.
As we actually got to watch the NBA, not the Jordan years.
Yeah, exactly.
When we were as little kids, we didn't get to see it. Of course, we can pull it up on YouTube, but actually experiencing it, Steph Curry had that one of a kind year.
The first year that I watched the 06 and 07 finals. The first year I watched the NBA was 2008. And, I really started getting into it, as I got older because I was like, 13 in 2008. So, I was like, oh, yeah, cool, whatever. But, I got into it more as we go. But Steph's 2016 season was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
400-plus threes, mind you.
It was unprecedented.
No one even has shot 300, and he went from, 286 to 402. Like, he destroyed it. Like, he's the only person
record was like 260.
300, and then the next year, the next season,
it was like 260, Steph 260, Steph 270, Steph 280, Steph 402.
And then the following season, he made just over 300, and that's supposed to be considered a down year.
A down year.
Like, get that out of here.
So
great three-point shooter of all time.
If you're saying best player, Steph still deserves that one. LeBron probably still has him going all the way back to his first MVP. Maybe before that even. So, the MVP is not the best player.
LeBron's y'all. So.
LeBron's LeBron. Whether you like him or not, he's the best player in the league for
his generation.
He's been a top 3 player in the league since, his second year? His rookie year, you could argue
he's already a
top
25 player. He could have been an all-star, but you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
They always have the thing about how, rookies, can't be all-stars.
Yeah. So you put the 2017-18 season in a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, LeBron's having one of his best career years. He's averaging 27, 9, and 9 on
probably over 50% shooting.
Yeah, I think he's shooting like 54 to 56%. I'm not looking at the stats right now. I actually got him. Hold on. Give me just 1
second. And I think LeBron is actually shooting like 38% from three.
He's shooting a better percentage than James Harden.
Been that good of a 3-point shooter.
He's shooting the same percentage as Damian Lillard and like 4.4 higher than James Harden from three. He's shooting 54.4% from the field. That's not including the last game of the season, which his field goal percentage isn't going to go down that much. He only played 11 minutes. So, I mean.
And played all 82.
He did play all 82. He averaged 27.7 points, 8.7 rebounds, 9.2 assists on 54.4% shooting, played 82 games.
And I feel like with the media, of course, we are the media, but
we're not mainstream
comparison. Yeah, we're our own stream.
We work for ourselves.
We make our own wave, y'all. So we doing things our way. But ESPN, everybody else, we hating on the fact that they're pointing out that LeBron has played in all 82 games. But I mean, when has LeBron missed more than 75? Missed more than only a few games in a season? Like
I'd rest him too. He's leading the league in minutes.
Yeah,
at 33.
But the least amount of games he ever played in a career is 75. I mean, he still played like 80, 85, 90% of the games.
Like, I mean, let's see.
He don't miss games.
James Harden missed like 9 games this year. That's more than LeBron's ever missed in a season. But speaking of Harden, speaking of the mainstream media, the mainstream media,
my MVP.
The mainstream media wants you to think that it's a competition. It's not. James Harden is running away. It won't be unanimous.
No. It won't be unanimous. LeBron will take the vote.
He'll get 4 or 5 votes.
I even say Anthony Davis even deserves a couple of votes too.
Damian Lillard deserves votes too.
Very underrated for what Portland has done. I mean,
3 seed.
I mean, who would have thought Portland would have got to where they at now with the duo of Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum? I mean, way exceeded expectations.
But James Harden is going to run away with MVP, leading the league in scoring, top 3 in assists, number 1 record in the NBA. For the first time since the Golden State dynasty started, someone has a better record in the regular season than Golden State.
And unheard of.
First time in 3 years. And I know Golden State's been hurt. I don't care. Houston won, 65, 66 games?
Mm-hmm.
Let me check. I'm going to get you the exact number. 65 and 16.
Of course, we got one more, which irrelevant at this point because, I mean, Houston is still the number 1 seed by far.
Technically,
it's a franchise record for the Rockets.
Oh, yeah. Technically, while we're filming this, the games haven't concluded tonight on the last night of the season. The Rockets are currently down. Oh, no, sorry, they lost. They did lose it. Updated. But anyway, so they finished the season 65 and 17. First time somebody's had a better record than Golden State since LeBron.
In at least 4 years. At least 4 years.
The last time somebody had a better record than Golden State, LeBron was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And James Harden did it this year, leading the league in points, top 3 in assists. Give him the MVP. Best player on the best team, having the best year of anybody, exceeding expectations, being better than the best team, the consensus best team, there's no way that anybody's going to compete with them team. And James Harden, you can make the argument that he deserved it last year.
I mean, he's followed up the last 2 years. People have been arguing
he could have been
2 seasons he could have been MVP.
2015, it was Steph, LeBron,
can't hate on
Harden.
Steph Curry. No matter how much you might feel about Steph Curry, you can't hate on that man.
Steph Curry in 16 deserved to be unanimous. Doesn't matter. Nobody had a say in that. The year before, you could have argued Harden. You could have argued Harden the year before. That. The year after, last year, you could have argued Harden because guess what? Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double last year and won MVP. Guess what he did this year? The same thing. Yeah, he averaged less points, less assists, slightly less. It was like 10.7 versus 10.4, 10.3 versus 10.1. Right. He averaged 5 less points, 6 less points.
Whatever. Yeah, but of course, mind you, he got Paul George and Carmelo Anthony.
Only won one more game, though. Only won one more game.
So, I mean, with triple doubles now,
how much do they matter now?
I think triple doubles now and how important they really are. I mean,
Chris Broussard, I love him because he didn't vote for Avery Bradley for all defense last year because he said Devin Booker dropped 70 on him. Avery Bradley didn't play that game. You know what else Chris Broussard said? He said that if Russell Westbrook had averaged 9.8 rebounds last year, he wouldn't have voted for him for MVP. What kind of sense does that make? None. The triple-doubles, they are averaging a triple-double for a season is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Because it hasn't been done in 50-odd years.
And now Russ has done it back-to-back years when it happened one other time ever. But the triple-double itself is an overrated stat.
It's not the same anymore because it seems like it's happening more. I mean, look at Jokic for the Denver Nuggets. I mean, as a center, I mean, he's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, LeBron, which, you would think LeBron would have way more triple-doubles than he has. And, this season has been the most triple-doubles he's had for the season.
I remember seeing a stat a couple years ago that was like the most triple-doubles ever in a season besides Oscar Robertson was like 20. Or something.
Yeah,
it was like Oscar had 41, and then Magic, and then somebody had like 20. Well, then Russell Westbrook last year had 41, while LeBron had 20, and James Harden had like 15. LeBron had like 18 this year, and Russ has had over 20. He's had like 26, 27. Then you got Ben Simmons has had like
15
or
something.
15
or something. Destroyed the rookie record.
It's awesome. It's not. I don't want to take anything away from them, but like it's not that big of a deal. If triple doubles were that big of a deal, then LeBron is 20 times better than Jordan because he has twice the triple doubles, and that makes no. And Russell Westbrook is
mind you, Jordan didn't have to do as much, but that's a whole other discussion.
We're not going to get into that. Everybody wants to make that debate right now, and it's stupid because there's no
completely different eras.
Yeah, different players, different positions, different eras. We're not going to get into that, but. If triple doubles are that big of a deal, then Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson, and Russell Westbrook are the three greatest ever. And that's just not true. So James Harden is your 2017-2018 MVP according to us.
Yeah.
And most likely.
And I'll say the margin is about yay much.
No, now, LeBron is in a legitimate second place, and he will get votes. And, if you voted for LeBron,
really, it's hard to argue with you. But at the end of the day, James is, let's just be real. He deserves the MVP at some point.
I was about to say, LeBron's got 4. Could easily
deserve at least one of the last 3. He needs one. It's time.
This will actually lead into our final segment pretty well. If James Harden does win the MVP, then current players with an MVP would be LeBron James with 4, Steph Curry with 2, and with 1 you have Kevin Durant, Derrick Rose, Dirk Nowitzki, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. And take Dirk and Derrick Rose out of that, obviously, because, for obvious reasons. But are those your 5 best players in the NBA? You got Steph, LeBron, KD, Russ, James Harden with MVPs. Are those the 5 best? It's very possible. We're going to get to that in a later segment. Now let's move on. Before we do Rookie of the Year, because that's going to be a fun debate, we're going to go to our all-NBA teams. We're going to start with the third team. I'll go first. Mine's going to be controversial, and you're not going to like it, and that's okay, because a lot of people have told me that you shouldn't be all NBA if you don't play enough games. Injuries should account for it, and I agree for the most part, but here's where I had trouble. I'll just start off with my first guard for third team All-NBA. I'm going with Steph Curry. And I think it's obvious that Steph Curry is a top 6. He's having a down year where he's been hurt, and he's obviously a top 6 guard in the NBA. And it's not
ankles.
He's the best when healthy. He is the best point guard in the NBA. It's not a debate. You can debate me if you want, but you're not going to change my mind. Steph is the best point guard in the NBA. Period.
True point guard.
True point guard. Anyway, I've got him at my 6th guard spot. He only played 51 games this season. Now, man, that's not very many. That means he missed 31 games. But I'm putting him all NBA because he deserves it. So, that influenced my other votes. At my second guard, I've got Kyrie Irving, who only played 60 games. I still think that Kyrie did enough to deserve that spot. Here, I left out Jimmy Butler and Victor Oladipo. Oladipo was the hardest one to leave out. Because I really think that if you say that you have to play at least 60 games, then, he takes Steph's spot. Jimmy Butler played 3 less games than Kyrie, but Kyrie had better stats and was on a better team and is the better player, I love Jimmy Butler. He's one of my favorites. But so I've got Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Paul George, LaMarcus Aldridge as the 2 forwards for my third team. LaMarcus Aldridge is kind of slept on. He didn't have Kawhi, and the Spurs they end up the 6, but they were right there. It could have been as high as the 4 without Kawhi Leonard because LaMarcus Aldridge took a bunch of old men and a second-year point guard. And
willed their way to the
DeJounte Murray, you heard it right here. He's going to be a great point guard in the future. He's not going to be one of the elite, Steph, Russ type point guard.
He'll be solid.
He's going to be think of like Chris Paul. Chris Paul for the last 10 years has been a top 5 point guard. He's going to be that kind of guy.
I'll even say, and even then, I think because of, how he's going to be utilized in San Antonio, he's going to be more of an underrated player, a Mike Conley type player.
Oh, definitely. I like that comparison a lot. But we're not talking about that. So, Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, Paul George, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMarcus Cousins makes my All-NBA team. I wanted to put Nikola Jokic because he's a great player, averaged 18 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, shot over 50%, I believe, had a bunch of triple-doubles, more triple-doubles than dunks this season. But
unheard of.
DeMarcus Cousins played 3 less games than Steph Curry. If I put Steph Curry on the list, I have to put DeMarcus Cousins because he had more points and rebounds than both my first and second team centers. And for 48 games, he averaged 25, 12, and 5.
Hard to deny those numbers.
I mean, that's a top 10, maybe top 5 MVP candidate if you're talking a full year at center.
If staying healthy.
Exactly. So I couldn't, in good faith, leave him out of All NBA. So he would have been unanimous first team, but he drops to third. If not him, if you say, hey, he's disqualified, I'm putting Nikola Jokic as my third center. So who you got on your third team?
Well,
he didn't do. Well, you didn't do guard, forward, center.
Yeah, I kind of mixed it up because in today's
which
era
is fine.
of the NBA,
this is our thing.
Get forwards and centers is kind of interchangeable at this point.
Think about Anthony Davis,
it depends
Al Horford,
on,
LaMarcus Aldridge. They're all forwards that have played center or centers that have played forward. It's muddy.
It's a different day now.
I mean, look at Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan even, who I consider them power forwards, and they played center more than half their career.
Well, of course, if you have someone like Shaq around, Shaq.
Yeah, if Shaq's playing there, he's just center. And somebody else, you put another center.
Bye.
Yeah.
Scoot to the side. But with my third All-NBA team, it's going to give you a little prelude of what's to come with the second and the first teams. But I have to agree with Chase here. Steph Curry deserves to be on the list. Like, the impact that he has on the Warriors is undeniable. Like, look at what's going on with them since he's been injured. Like, they're not the same team. Like, with Kevin Durant, yes, he might be considered one of the top players in the league, which you'll hear that, in our upcoming
top
segment,
25 NBA
top 25
players next.
Yeah, you're gonna hear more about that
after Rookie of the Year.
But even with Kevin Durant, the Warriors have been dealing with so many injuries that I feel like that if Curry would have been eligible to play, Golden State will be in better shape than they are right now.
Oh, definitely.
So I'll say he definitely deserves to be on an All-NBA team, but I'll put him on the third one.
Fair enough.
For my other guard, I have to put Victor Oladipo.
I love it.
I mean, yes, Kyrie did lead that Boston Celtics team to being the second seed in the playoffs.
I really, as a Celtics fan, I kind of wanted to leave Kyrie off, if we're being honest. But I put Steph with less games, and so I didn't penalize Kyrie as much. So, I mean, I could easily have put an Oladipo instead of Kyrie. Yeah, so, I love that you did.
Yeah, I feel like for Oladipo, he deserves it because, he showed out this year.
Oh,
he carried the Indiana team to being a top 5 team in the East, when no one expected them to even probably make the playoffs, considering, trading away their star player and Paul George. I mean, Oladipo deserves all the credit in the world, so I feel like he deserves to be on this team.
I definitely, I typed right here my snubs, which I kept in there because I didn't have them in the original list there. My 2 snubs were Jokic and Oladipo, and I mean, they were. That's where you say, hey, Cousins, he didn't play enough, Kyrie or Steph didn't play enough, then boom, they're instantly in there.
Right.
So I like that. So
yeah, and then speaking of the trade between Oladipo and Paul George, them switching teams. My forward is Paul George. Like for Paul George, I feel like his role in Oklahoma City, the mix and mash between him and Westbrook and Carmelo, Paul George has come on as of late for Oklahoma City to now, not only, ensure themselves a spot in the playoffs, but for them to be able to be in the 6th seed.
He dropped 40 tonight. Actually,
on Memphis.
Breaking news, as of we're recording this, games are concluding. Oklahoma City is actually the 4th seed in the West. Yes. Official final standings. You got Portland 1, so it's Houston, Golden State, Portland, Oklahoma City, Utah, New Orleans, San Antonio, Minnesota.
Of course. And of course, we'll be discussing the Western Conference here, in another segment.
It's actually going to be before this in the video. We just haven't done it yet. We'll let you in on the behind the scenes stuff. We were waiting until the games were over. Whatever.
Yeah, but we're working our way through.
See, that's the difference. We're transparent.
Yeah,
all right?
We're honest. We're not going to just say, hey,
we're not going to sit here and lie to you.
Make this up as we go.
We're going to reorder. Who cares, man?
Yeah, it's going to be smooth like water.
You're having fun. That's
I mean, look at it. It's nighttime. I mean, we're trying to give y'all the best opportunity to get the best sports information as possible.
We got to work in the morning. We got to work tomorrow.
School.
Man. We got stuff to do, and we're up giving y'all sports news all night. So
right. Hey, we're here for y'all, so we appreciate y'all to follow us and be able to stay tuned.
Definitely. So,
yeah. But
mini plug there.
To finish this list.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for my forward/center positions, I'm also going to include LaMarcus Aldridge. Like Aldridge, carrying the team without Kawhi Leonard for basically the entire season. I mean, Aldridge had that conversation with Popovich and, asking to want to be traded. And Popovich was like, no, we ain't having this. Like, we need to figure out what kind of role you have. So now he's able to play more like how he was in Portland.
Oh, definitely.
And Portland was those days where he gave San Antonio the business in the playoffs. So you're able to translate that to the Spurs offense. And Aldridge, I mean, this is by far his best year, averaging more than 20 points a game, nearly 10 rebounds. I mean,
let's see.
Aldridge has been pretty doggone consistent for them this whole season.
23.4 points, 8.4 rebounds, 2.1 assists on 52% shooting.
I mean, efficient. And then for my last spot, I have to give it to Jokic. Like, Jokic is definitely has been the face of the team for the Nuggets. Like,
so we've got the exact same list. My alternate list had Oladipo over Kyrie and Jokic over DeMarcus Cousins. So I agree 1,000% with that list.
I think that's your preference, and I just had mine just up front, just be done, wash my hands.
I spent 20 minutes deleting DeMarcus Cousins and Kyrie and typing all the okay, let me do it. So I lost sleep over it, man. It was rough. Mm-hmm. So going on to second team now, you want to lead off?
I'll go ahead and lead off this one. Now, for the second team.
This is where it's going to get interesting.
Yeah.
Because we're going to kind of get a picture of the first team.
Right. You're going to get a better idea of where I'm going. Now, when it comes to the guards, in my mind, for what he has done for this team this year, they have exceeded expectations. I cannot deny Damian Lillard deserves to be on the second team, all NBA.
All right.
Like, for him to carry that team and, along the way, they have beaten tough teams.
I mean, they're in the West.
They beat
number
Golden
3 in
State.
the West.
I mean,
not the East.
They not only beat Golden State, they whooped Golden State. Like, Lillard is having near career numbers, like averaging at least like 25 points a game, 25 points. I'd say 6 rebounds, 5 assists, something similar to that.
Hold on, I lost it. 26.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 6.6 assists. So
Steph Curry-like numbers.
Basically 27-5-7 on 44% shooting.
As I repeat, Steph Curry-like numbers.
Hey, if Kobe is Jordan Light and Ben Simmons is Diet LeBron, Dame is Baby Steph. I mean,
and even then, I don't think he'll even accept that comparison either. Cause I feel like he feel like he hold his own and he ain't gonna be compared to nobody.
It's Dame time, baby.
I mean, he's from the Bay, so yeah, he's his own man.
Oh yeah.
But
who you got at the other guard?
The other guard, I'll say DeMar DeRozan. I feel like deserves to be on the second All-NBA team. Like I said earlier,
I like it.
With Toronto. Toronto is going as far as DeMar DeRozan will go. And,
Definitely.
You know, the one thing that has been a major weakness for him prior to this year has been his three-point shot. And, you know, he rarely had taken three-point shots because he wasn't confident in the ability to make the perimeter shot. But this year, he has exceeded that, and now I believe he's shooting, I think, a little bit more than 30%, like maybe like 32, 33%, somewhere in that area. So, I mean, he may not necessarily be the best three-point shooter in the world, mind you, but he is showing off that he can be somewhat consistent from outside, and you got to worry about the shot. And we already know mid-range, it's deadly. Like, in my mind, he has the best mid-range game in the league. And
I can get behind that.
And then also, when it comes to the forwards and the centers, Jimmy Butler for the Timberwolves.
You got Jimmy Butler as a forward. I had him as a guard.
Well,
it's
in my mind, it depends on how you see him.
Oh, I'm with you.
I mean, with Jimmy Butler, I believe that Butler deserves.
I've always thought of him as a forward, but he's been playing shooting guard this year. So I always thought he's a small forward.
It contrasts. But the way Butler has played this year for the Timberwolves has been amazing. Like I mean, prior to his injury back in, I think either January or February, somewhere around there. I mean, they were already, the fourth seed in the West. Mm-hmm. And since his injury, up until recently, they went from being the fourth seed to having the battle for a playoff spot tonight. I mean,
Jimmy Butler came up big in that game. I forget what his stat line was, but he carried Minnesota to that overtime win.
He's been clutch going back to his days in Chicago. Like, I mean,
he was great. He was borderline elite then, and then now he's got buddies. He's got Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, Jeff Teague, Taj Boyd.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dirty team, man. It's
scary
playoff matchup for Houston.
Yeah, but I mean, Butler
earlier actually, I already heard that.
Day in, day out, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Definitely. And his offensive game has taken off year after year after year. So I believe that Butler, for his impact that he has for Minnesota, definitely deserves to be, at least, and in my opinion, the second team All-NBA. Now, for the other two spots, well, of course, it might be a little bit controversial because of how people may perceive this. But in my mind, the Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I might have said it wrong. Hey, at least I had the nerve to try to say his last name. Unlike
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That might be. Hey, you might turn this to a gift, y'all. Hey, I at least tried. But at the end of the day, I mean, the Greek freak.
Yeah, I was going to say most people just call him Greek freak. They don't even try.
In my mind, I'm just going to say Greek freak now.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
He can say it smoothly. I can't.
I looked up a YouTube video watching him say it, and I watched it about 25 times until I was like,
see, you went out your way to do that. I don't have time for that.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You go ahead. Giannis. That's as far as I'm saying.
There you go.
But Giannis, I mean, the only weakness he has is an outside jump shot. Outside of
he got it on 2K.
He can do whatever.
He can shoot the three on 2K a little bit.
That game is rigged. But anyway, that's separate. But Giannis, he definitely has helped Milwaukee get to the level where it's at now. Now it's just a matter of, working on that jump shot, and he could eventually, in my mind, he'll go transition from the second team to the first team. But as of right now,
I agree with that.
He's on the second team. And my last pick, this might be the most controversial pick of them all.
I already know who you're going with.
I'm going with DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, no, never mind. I thought you were going a different direction there.
Even though Cousins has only played about half a season, for that period of time, he has been the most dominating center in the entire league.
Probably one of the most dominating seasons we've seen since Shaq was in LA.
25 points,
in
12
Miami.
rebounds. At least a block and a half, 2 blocks. I can't remember exactly how many blocks he had. But I know that he actually have tried to do well on defense this year.
47%, and he was shooting threes.
Yeah, he was shooting threes, and he was making them things. Like, he was making it rain. Like, him and Anthony Davis put together. Like, up until his injury, I mean, DeMarcus Cousins was definitely, he could have been in discussion for MVP.
Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, both healthy on the Pelicans, could have competed with anybody.
Anybody.
Look at Golden State. What's their weakness? Inside. What are they going to do to stop either of those guys, let alone both? But we'll never know. We'll never know.
Well, not this year, at least. But in my mind, I think DeMarcus Cousins deserves to be on the second team for his inside presence and the ability to shoot. Like, even for half a season, in my mind, he played enough games that he should be on this list. And for that, if he didn't get injured, he would have been first team. But, I'm going to I'm docking him for points because of injury. Nothing against him because it's not his fault that his Achilles popped. But, at the,
story.
Still, second team for DeMarcus Cousins. Props to you.
I can understand that. I'm going to run through my second team pretty quick, and then I'll go first on the first since you went first on that. So I'm going to kind of run through it a little quicker because we are running a little over on time. We'll try to keep this under an hour for this segment. So that'll give us 10 minutes for the rookie stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'll kind of swing through this real quick. Second team, guard, DeMar DeRozan. Russell Westbrook. Might catch some flack for that one, but anyway. Ooh. Forwards, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Second team forwards. Because of we'll get to, you'll see when I get my first team. Because
AD on second team.
Because we had different criteria here.
The philosophy.
Okay. DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid for my center. Those are my five.
Westbrook on second team as well? Okay.
Yep. Russell Westbrook, second team All-NBA.
Woo-wee.
Because my first team is James Harden MVP. Dame time, Damian Lillard, first team All-NBA, baby.
Okay.
First team All-NBA.
Ooh.
LeBron James, greatest player of all time. Anthony Davis at the other forward position.
I'm gonna let that greatest of all time. I'm not gonna.
He'll let it slide because he doesn't want to argue with me.
Yeah, we already gone over y'all.
I was hoping that would just kind of go under the whatever.
I heard that.
So at the forwards, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, because I'm strictly guard, forward, center. I'm going Anthony Davis as a forward, so I'm putting him over Kevin Durant this year. I'm saying LeBron and Anthony Davis over Durant and Giannis. And my center is Karl Anthony Towns. I'm putting him first team All-NBA this year. Would have been DeMarcus Cousins hands down. Wouldn't have been a conversation. But he got hurt, so he drops to my third team. So that's what I've got. What rounds out your first team? Well, I probably know because I know who else you picked. So
well, in my mind, for the first team, Russell Westbrook deserves it because he averaged again for the second year in a row a triple-double. Yes, he might have gotten a little bit of help because of people like Steven Adams and Carmelo blocking him out to get the rebound and it'd be a one-man fast break.
6 points, 20 rebounds, 19 assists tonight.
He still hustle and still go for the ball. No matter if you get the ball, how you get the ball, it's just getting the ball, period. And
that's what he said. He said if it's that easy.
Numbers.
He said if it's that easy, tell everybody else to do it.
Right. I mean,
can't do it.
So Westbrook, he's. I
can't average a triple-double playing one-on-one in the driveway, man.
Nah, can't do that. But,
so you got Westbrook. You obviously have Harden.
Of course, the MVP. I mean, we're not even going to even touch on that. Like that's beside the point.
I know you got
now. Of course, LeBron James, second in MVP this year for what he has done for the Cleveland Cavaliers this year, as they're going to be making a run in the playoffs. Kevin Durant deserves to be on the All-NBA first team because, he's Kevin Durant.
Depending on your format, I'll give you that.
He's like the most efficient player in the league.
As long as you got this other guy on first team, I'll let the Durant. That's fine. That's fine.
And then, of course, Anthony Davis.
There you go. That's fine. That's fine. I can definitely.
Anthony Davis is legit. He's for real.
Last year, he was first team as a center because Kawhi and LeBron were the forwards. I'm cool with that. The way I did it, Durant had to be pushed to second team because LeBron and Anthony Davis are better this year. Better in general. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, on the list.
Durant's ahead.
That's my first team. That's my, those are my three teams. That's just my preference on how I want to go about it.
I can get down with it.
But I ain't hating on your list at all.
I'll probably get like a graphic that goes over our faces and have like our teams to make it easier.
Yeah, we will add that in due time.
Maybe, if I feel like it. So, I'm going to run through my all-rookie team. I'm not really going to break it down as much because it's rookies and nobody cares.
This is their first year. They just getting their foot in the water. So,
I'll just go my whole first and second team. You give me yours. Then we'll have the Rookie of the Year talk. Then we'll cut to commercial. And we got one more segment after this. And we'll go from there. So, my all-rookie first team in no particular order, because it's out of order on my notes here. Kyle Kuzma, Donovan Mitchell, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Lauri Markkanen. Those are the 5 best rookies this year.
And just to speed the process up a little bit, the exact same thing.
Perfect.
No argument at all whatsoever.
Perfect. My second team, which there are a bunch of candidates for the second team.
All potential.
It could go a lot of ways because it's really close, honestly. I think the top 7 is pretty solid. I'm going to go with the first 2. I would say Lonzo Ball, Josh Jackson are going to be on your second team. They could have been first team. Lonzo, if he had played the full year, I probably would have given him the nod. Maybe. I don't know. It's close. Ceiling-wise, Lonzo is still one of the best rookies in this draft, easily. He's going to be a Chris Paul, a Jason Kidd. He's going to be a household name.
Don't try to pressure him and make it the fake it coming, of God. Yeah, a lot of people try to make
he's still a big baller. I hope that was louder.
BBB. Big baller brand, baby.
Lonzo Ball.
In the words of LeBron.
Shout out to LeVar. If you're watching, I'll put ads on here for like $1. I'll have BBB everywhere, all over the wall, everything, man. Give me some ZO2s, dog. Like, let's go. I'm all for the movement.
Up in Northeast Arkansas.
Lonzo Ball, Josh Jackson, Dennis Smith Jr., John Collins, and Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Well,
are my second team all rookies with De'Aaron Fox as a very close snub.
Well, I pretty much agree with you with everyone but Bogdanovic. I actually include De'Aaron Fox in my second all-rookie team.
I had a poll on Twitter earlier today, and I said it was a blind resume, and I put player 1, player 2. So which one, like their points, rebounds, assists, shooting percent, they're all so close that it's hard. And I just went with Bogdanovic because I think he averaged like 1 more assist a game on like 4% better shooting. And I let it come down to that. I said, I honestly don't know, but it's a slight this way. And that stat may be totally wrong.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I know what it was. Like I did the research.
And of course, if you look at it from the number perspective, I'm going to look at it from the eye test. De'Aaron Fox as the point guard for that team, De'Aaron Fox is going to be a star. He's going to be a star. Like, look at what he did in Kentucky his freshman year.
He was great in Kentucky.
Like, he was amazing.
Speaking of rookies, I'm not going to get much into him, but Malik Monk, when he gets...
He's coming.
When he gets legitimate playing time, when he gets 20 minutes, he's averaging... I would have to get the exact numbers, but it seems that when he gets 20 minutes, he's scoring at least 15 to 25 points. They haven't played him all year. They have a logjam. They have Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, Nicholas Batum, and a couple others that they played over Malik.
And late in the season, mind you, he has turned out to be a very solid player. He averaged, I think, like 20, to close out the season.
Over the last 5-6 games,
he started getting shine, 20 points. So, going into next year, Malik Monk might end up being potentially, in the running for most improved player.
All you Razorback fans watching, I'm a huge Razorback fan. I've loved the Razorbacks my whole life. Always have, always will. Yeah. Y'all got to quit hating on Malik.
I'm because he Red Wolves through thick and thin. I respect the Hogs, but
y'all got to let Malik off the leash. He's not a bust because he didn't do great this year. He made the right decision going to Kentucky, given his situation. I would too. I don't want one and dones at Arkansas. I'm not going to go too much into it, but I still love Malik because he grew up right down the road in Lepanto. I watched him since he was in 8th grade. Watch him since he was in 8th grade. I hope he does great things. I hope he's an NBA All-Star one day. So if y'all hate me for that, that's fine. You're still gonna watch my show.
Hey, we hope you watch our show. So, I mean, well, as long as I'm
you're not throwing shade at him. You're not throwing shade at him.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's what I mean. It's our show. Rookie of the Year. Give me your vote. Just throw it out there. Who's the Rookie of the Year?
For me personally, I mean, Ben Simmons may be the better player, but I think because he has better players around him, I think it helps him. So, yes, I'm going to go as far as saying Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell!
Because,
Donovan Mitchell is the official under-reviewed Rookie of the Year 2017-18. Donovan Mitchell, most outstanding, came out of nowhere, no expectations.
Averaged 20 points a game for a Utah team who no one ever imagined them even having home court advantage in the playoffs. Like,
he averaged 24-4. Actually, they fell out of home court. They fell to the 5. They were in the 3 before when we started filming, but they fell to the 5 because of tiebreak. Either way.
Technicality, folks. Even then.
I don't care.
Being a top 5 in the West says a lot for how big the competition is. You see, it even switched up while we're even doing this, folks.
Exactly. It switched a lot. OKC went from 7-4 while we've been doing this. New Orleans moved. Right. San Antonio.
It's been chaos. Like, who would have thought this coming? I mean,
huge shakeups. Anyway,
Donovan Mitchell deserves a lot more credit than folks.
He came out of nowhere. He wasn't supposed to be any good. Ben Simmons was supposed to have a cakewalk to Rookie of the Year. It was supposed to be no competition.
Either had Alonzo Ball.
I was about to say, the beginning of the year, they said, who's it going to be? Lonzo, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum.
Hot start for the Celtics.
No, it's been Donovan Mitchell the whole time. He's the best scorer. He broke the record for most threes by a rookie. You know how many Ben Simmons has? 0. He has less than the true Rookie of the Year,
Andre Ingram.
Andre Ingram, the 32-year-old rookie out of the G League.
Been in the G League for 10 years.
Is a much better shooter than Ben Simmons.
By far.
It's not close.
He's the greatest three-point shooter in the G League in its history. And really, after the way Ingram played, of course, this is from
19.6
the night after. Ingram should have been in the league a long time ago.
19
based on how
points.
well he performed.
19 points, 6 of 8 shooting, 4 for 5 from 3, 3 for 3 from the free throw line with 3 blocks, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. For a 32-year-old rookie
making plays
in Staples Center against the Houston Rockets, playing their starters.
With his wife and kids there.
He was supposed to fly home and flew his wife and kids out to LA to watch him play.
After,
in the NBA.
At first he was going to be, he thought he was going to do an exit interview. But all of a sudden,
played
Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson waiting for him outside the office when their exit interview taking place.
I'm going to look up his stats. Surprise. Real time here to see what he did. He didn't have as great of an encore. He only managed 5 points. But let's look at this. His plus minus was plus 23, which
his impact was the
highest of any of the Lakers. They won by 15 over the Clippers, so he's 1-1 on his career. Tonight he had 5 points, only 2 turnovers, only 1 foul, 2 steals, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. He was 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, 2 for 9 overall. Played 35 minutes.
I bet you. The reason why those numbers looking like that is because the Clippers did not want to get embarrassed in the Staples Center in front of everyone.
Exactly.
And back-to-back nights, they didn't want that to happen. So therefore, I figured they keyed on him to take him out of the offense. And because of that, Ingram, being the professional that he is, set up everybody else. And therefore,
6 assists.
He played a big role in why the Lakers won tonight.
He got more assists than,
a lot of people.
A lot of people. So, I get Ben Simmons is going to win Rookie of the Year, I believe. He's the better player.
I mean,
if I was picking...
he gonna get it, obviously. But this is our preference.
If I was building a team, I'm building it around Ben Simmons over Donovan Mitchell.
I mean, come on now.
He's a better player. He, 16-8-8 versus 24-4, which people act like that's a huge difference. It's not that big a difference, but Donovan Mitchell has nobody in Utah. I mean, Rudy Gobert, Ricky Rubio.
Joe Ingles. He's got nothing against you, Joe Ingles. Nothing against you.
And Ben Simmons has
the type of
Joel
talent
Embiid,
like what
JJ Redick, Dario Saric.
It's levels
goes on.
Like talent wise, Philadelphia has way more talent than what Utah has.
Here's some people I looked up. The last 5 rookies to average 20 or more points, which Ben Simmons averaged 16. If he had a jump shot, he might average freaking 30.
Easy.
But let's see. So Donovan Mitchell averaged 20.5, which is more than Kevin Durant as a rookie, who averaged 20.3. It's less than Blake Griffin, who averaged 22.5, but you got to think Blake Griffin was probably 19 dunks a game, somehow for only 22 points. It doesn't add up, but Tyreek Evans averaged 20.1 when he won Rookie of the Year. LeBron James averaged 20.9 when he won Rookie of the Year. In that same year, Carmelo averaged 21. Mm-hmm. So the list, I guess, in order from most to least that averaged 20 points as a rookie: Carmelo Anthony, Blake Griffin, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, Tyreek Evans. Since 2003. Those are, and it's not just that he scored a bunch of points, but he came out of nowhere. He surprised everybody, shocked the world.
Come out from Louisville. Represent.
And I get the whole Ben Simmons had a whole year to prepare, and that makes a big difference because Ben Simmons, as a fresh out of college,
and training and seeing the NBA game, watching for a whole year. It made a huge difference in how.
And I'm not even necessarily
day one and boom, perform at the level that he has.
I'm not even necessarily putting that into my argument for Mitchell because I'm going Mitchell anyway. It's my vote.
And just preference.
Yeah, preference. I like
Mitchell.
I liked what he did.
And what he did for Utah.
Again, Ben Simmons is a better player. He's got the brighter future. But I'm giving it to Mitchell this year. Damian Lillard won it over Anthony Davis. Carmelo probably should have won it over LeBron. Being real, there's a lot. Like last year, let's give Ben Simmons last year's Rookie of the Year over Malcolm Brogdon.
And of course, Brogdon, he deserved for the type of class that he had to deal with. Brogdon did deserve it. So
I'm just saying, give Ben Simmons last year's, give Donovan Mitchell this year. Easy. We're going to go to commercial. We've went way over on this segment. We got one more coming up for you after this, and so we'll be right back. Maybe.